So, let me start this off by showing you the precursor project that spawned out of just a conversation on the From the Depths Discord that ended up being a failure. So, what's happening here is that this tractor beam engages for one tick and then disengages. So it's flickering on and off. Now, in case you don't know, you can't, chain tractor beams. So if a ship is being held by a tractor beam, it cannot hold another ship with a tractor beam. So you can't, chain your tractor beams. But what I tried to do is using this little, on and off phasing thing to make it work, and, I don't think you need me to tell you that it didn't. And every single time you got further and further in the chain, it would get more and more this. It would get so ridiculously twitchy. So, unfortunately, that was my first attempt to make, a long, worm-like ship that's a bunch of segments floating separated. My second attempt will be different, though. Alright, been a while since I dinked around with Lua, but, here we go again. This is gonna be quite irksome. Each of these are going to go, starting with their own fleet index, go up until they find a fleet index where that ship is alive. And then once they find that, then they're going to track that ship and follow it. If they don't find it, then they're going to understand that they are the lead ship and will just go with a normal bombing run AI. So the first one will be a bombing run. Everyone behind it will just be following the first one that's alive in front of it. So that means if one of the middle ones gets killed, then the one right behind it is going to just look for the next one, see, oh, that one's dead, and then look to the next one and see that one's alive, I'm going to follow that one. Alright, so we've got this code, and it is working every second and identifying the next two. So it identifies that the next one in line is test 2, the next one is test 3. If we crank up the impact damage and just nuke this thing, then it just goes to 3. Okay, so it doesn't even have to check if it's alive. If once that one's gone, it just doesn't bother. If current seek index is bigger than the number of members, then locked ship index equals -1. We're not locked onto a single ship. We nuke that. Now, it's still locked onto 2. We nuke 2. God fucking damn it. Okay, so this is a little inefficient right here, but we're storing the last 2 seconds plus where it is right now, and we're going to, once we've got that data, if it's not nil, then we lock in, and then if we lose lock, we need to clear out all of this data. Alright, so now we've got this thing floating around, and what we want this thing to do is track it as well as possible. Now, we could pretty easily make this capable of reversing, but we're not going to, because if it reverses, it dies. I'm thinking I could definitely pass in values from the custom axes. The only issue being that custom axes are a scale from 1 to 1, and we are currently locked on to 200 negative 1,000. And if we look, actually nowhere near any of the sides of the maps, so I have no idea how we're gonna store that big of a number. I don't know if it'll work in adventure mode, but it'll definitely work in the base game within the bounds of this world. Then again, adventure mode will occasionally reset the coordinate system if you go too far in any direction, so I don't know. I don't know where the hard limit for that is, but I know there is a limit. But it's really, really, really big. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make these custom axes and just make... Each one of them is going to use this little function I whipped up. And then we'll use seek position dot X, Y, and Z. So now it should, if these don't exist, create them. Otherwise, send them this. Oh, hey. It looks like it'll output it as a vector anyway, which is going to be really handy. All right, so now we recombine these drives into, these 3 drives into, it looks like it gets the 3 things, but it doesn't make them a vector. So I have to, well, I had to split them apart anyway to do this to each one individually. Then it recreated it into a vector. And now, coordinate to look at. All right, we now have it aiming. We subtracted its current position from the position it wants to go, and we aimed it there. I don't know what the fuck this number does, and no one could tell me, so I cranked it high, and it started working. So I don't know. Maybe this is the only number that works, and I happened to get it down to the 100th, or the number doesn't matter. Anyway, coordinate to look at is where we want to go. Direction to look is where we want to go minus where we are. And it's working. It is slowly tracking exactly behind that thing. Interesting. If needs must, and I was thinking of this, if needs must, we can actually control forward and back manually. Just have the AI, not manually, but separately. Just have the AI go forward if we're too far, and stop if we're too close, because it seems to be a little janky at the moment. Okay, a lot janky. A is less than or equal to 0.5. Then we'll be doing breadboard mode. But if it's greater than 0.5, we're doing attack run. So now, what did I call this axis again? State. We'll have, state is 0 if we're in breadboard mode. But if there's nothing in front of us, state is 1, which will put us into attack run mode. So now, this mainframe should be in breadboard behavior link. If we completely trash this one in front of it, it should, well, theoretically, it should wait for 2 seconds and then ram directly into this. So let's turn off God mode, destroy this thing. Yeah, theoretically, it should wait a couple seconds to get a lock and then fly at this. But since this thing's standing still, it'll just go right into it? No? Interesting. Anyway. Still in breadboard link. Kill test number 3, it switches to attack run. Okay. Beautiful. Let's see how this handles. Why are these thrusting so slowly? These are pushing forward so weakly. They're not actually tracking it, but they seem to be trying their damnedest. So I think I am going to have to manually control forward and backward motion. Okay, so now it just this is very crude at the moment, but now it just constantly pushes forward if it's behind whatever it's in front of. It needs to also only do this if breadboard link. If we're in breadboard link mode. If we're in attack mode, or we're in defense mode, or what the fuck? If we're in attack mode, or we're in follow mode and too far from the one in front of us, Now we're gonna want a PID to make sure these things don't just like full bore into the back of the one in front of them. I do predict that that's what's gonna happen right now. But for now, let's just test it out. Okay. Okay, it's actually working very well. In fact, you know what? Oh my god. Oh wait, no, they were nowhere near. Neat. In fact, you know what I think I might do? I might make them way closer. Instead of 2 seconds, just be 1 second behind. Alright, now that we've dealt with the placeholder code, got it simple, clean, with an actual rotating queue, it'll now we can just go up wherever we want. We can put this to 20 and it'll track 20 positions. Okay, so now we're tracking 1 second behind, but we're doing it in quarter seconds instead of 2 second behind in seconds. Now, since we're in breadboard mode, we're using the PID. Once it switches, it'll close this gate, making this 0, and then turn this value into 1. If we want to change that value, then it's just as simple as putting a switch here. That's why I did it this way. So now we've got an actual PID controlled forward value. So if we can afford to crank this thing up a little. All right, try again. I'm gonna need to figure out a way to fix that that tracking issue right there, right when it first starts. I was hoping turning down the time would help, but it seems to have not. This is a really fucking annoying boat, actually. Let's go back to a small one. Just because it does so much damage, it just knocks the thing around. Now, PID is on. So hopefully it should start slowing down and then just ease into it. Oh, and yeah, it speeds up a lot to make up for lost time because of the PID if it's too far away. And then it slows down when it's close so it doesn't ram into the thing right in front of it, but still manages to keep moving without having to reverse or anything. And I think just having better control will make it better. If the thing in front of it is below, let's say 300 meters, we just ignore it and fly away. Or let's say 200 meters. It can dip down quite a bit before we just start ignoring it. I'll do a little bit of fine-tuning, but I think this should be the final code. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this jank will go away once it just becomes better at rolling and turning. So, fine-tuning, and I'm going to come back with the final design for the outside, and then we can work on the interior and chain them together. So, I built it up, tweaked it, looks alright. What the fuck is going on here? Man, they're so buggy. Kraken segment 0 is just over here for some ungodly reason, and I can't select it in the tractor beam. It just ain't here. Well, actually, it is here. And it's just like slowly sending it off into eternity. Okay, now for some reason, Draken segment 0 is in the front. Is it just kind of at one point, I don't know why, just seemed to scramble? Like the order of them? Okay, 2 is just 2. Okay, so 2 somehow became unmarked as a sub-vehicle, which it has done before. Alright, watch this shit. This one holds the head, and this one holds segment 6, right? Right? Okay, so look at this. Beautiful. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 head. Perfect, right? It's working, correct? Everything's in order. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 head. Pull it, play it. It just decides to fucking shuffle them. Like, and it's inconsistent too. Alright, we fixed it. Do it again. Now these two switch. It just releases the head and assigns a random fucking one to that tractor beam. For no ungodly reason. Alright, so this is such a shame. Everything's working perfectly except the mothership. Like, the whole mothership system is just completely broken. Okay, so, like, if we look at it, it's working. Just kind of needs to... The front one needs to slow down even more for it to catch up. Oh, God, no. Because it needs a fucking, target to survive and not kill itself. This is probably gonna end horribly. As they all just, like, ram into each other. Yeah. Yep, see? Because it can't function without being held down by a tractor beam. Tractor beams just don't work. That is such an upsetting limit. I will revisit this in the future. It's a terrible matchup now, isn't it? Let's just see how it does. Normally. Alright, please, for the love of God. Will this work? It does? It does. And now we just need to give it a target. Where the fuck are you going, man? Alright, one of the segments stayed behind just to obliterate the mothership, I guess? Or two of the segments? I don't know. I can't really tell. What? Why is Where's Dragon Segment 0? One of them spawned over here, and it decided to make that one the front? I can't do this. It doesn't... I'm gonna be so upset if this is what ends up killing it. If after all this work, it just won't function because it spawns wrong every single time. If it was at all consistent, I could work with it. And now it's out of order. Now everything's out of order. And since I used the order of the index, it won't work. Dragon Segment 0 is now the lead. And Dragon Segment 0 spawns fucking over here. You know? I posted a lot of videos here. I think this is going to be the first actual failure that I've posted. The first no holds barred, no silver lining failure. I guess there is the silver lining of it was working, sort of, but now that it's just... I kill this, maybe it'll work. Very, very slowly working their way back because of how massive of a trip that they took to follow the thing which spawned. I have no idea how it spawns over there. I don't understand. The sub-object spawners are just so unusable. Like, half the time. If any of you know what went wrong or how it could be fixed, please let me know. Did it just not shoot? Like, please, I would just love to know. What and how is broken? Okay, is it gonna work now? That one decided not to fire. That one didn't because it went... Because now it's out of range. So it doesn't really work as is. If there's a fix to this spawning issue, I will gladly revisit this and fix some of the other issues, like them not tracking well, them like running into each other when respawning. But the fact that it doesn't order itself, I would have to just like make it completely change the way it works, where it just iterates through the whole fleet and finds the one with a name higher than it. Like orders it by their name. But for now, leave a like if you liked, and hop into the Discord to suggest more. But most importantly, please, if you know what the problem is and how to fix it, why it spawns things so inconsistently and moves them around, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, thanks for watching. Sorry I couldn't succeed, and have a nice day.